This episode of The Reasons I'm Broke is brought to you by Audible.
Sign up today and get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia.
There's over 150,000 titles to choose from, all available on your Android device, Kindle, and iPhone.
Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Kelli.
And I'm Daniel. And we're back.
Yes! We had a wonderful week off, though. Thank you guys so much for allowing us the break.
Yeah, and normally, so first off the podcast, for any new listeners out there, we cover news first, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more, and then we move into our comic book reviews for the week. I do want to say, though, we did not have an episode last week. We were on vacation, our honeymoon, actually.
6 months late, but finally.
Yeah, it was a great time. Mm. I came back 5 pounds heavier.
We all came back 5
Ate too much, drank too much. Even the listeners gained weight while we were gone.
They just had the urge to just eat all the time, just like we did. They're like, I'll eat some of this.
Must be because there's no new episode. I don't know. But even though we didn't have an episode last week, we actually beat out December's numbers for downloads.
Awesome.
Which is awesome. So we do want to thank all the new listeners that jumped on the podcast.
Absolutely.
We hope you enjoy. And also for the existing Brokettes for spreading the word and for staying on and enjoying the show.
Mm-hmm. Thank you,
guys. So thank you very much. I also want to thank Sam and Garrett for getting Nerd Up Media t-shirts. They got them right after we left town, and they look great. They have them. They're waiting for them now, and they should have them soon.
We expect pictures.
We do. I think they ended up getting the red shirt and then the black shirt. And they turned out really nice. That's from our friends over at Lazy Nerds Designs. You can get your shirt at nerdupmedia.com/shop. We did put up that commercial promoting the t-shirts.
Yes, shot that during our honeymoon.
Oh, even then, I was like, we have to do some work. I can't relax too much.
You relaxed a lot, though. I was proud of you.
Yeah, I sure did. I drank too much, too.
You did.
A lot of relaxing
That was
there.
like 2 liters of rum in a week.
All right, so the first bit of news, which we do have a lot to catch up on, 2 weeks worth.
Nintendo will be discontinuing its Club Nintendo incentive program. So for those of you who don't know what that is, Nintendo offers this service, which for every game and console you buy, anything Nintendo related, it comes with a code. You go online, you punch in that code, and they give you fill out surveys, and they ask you how the game was, and to rate it, and all this fun stuff, and then they give you coins.
Right, yeah, the coins you can actually spend on their catalog, and it is exclusive items through Nintendo that you could only get at Club Nintendo. As traditionally the Japanese market, they actually get better prizes than we do. That's always been the case. Every now and again we do get a better pre-order than they do. But that is kind of the way that they rewarded gamers for buying their first-party titles. It also got information for them based on future titles. So you can give them feedback on the video game, like, I didn't feel like this worked, or this should have had more replayability in the end. And it was fun. I do like the rewards that they had, even though they weren't the best, but it's still free stuff.
Mm-hmm. I think we've gotten 2 cases for all our DS games.
Yeah. Which
were really cool. They used to have the little Kirby Epic Yarn patches. Those were awesome.
Yeah, those were really cool.
I mean, free stuff just for buying stuff you were already going to get.
If you already have an account, Club Nintendo members in the US and Canada can earn additional coins through the end of March and can redeem those coins through the end of June. So you can still buy the latest Nintendo games and redeem the codes.
Nintendo of America will be announcing a new loyalty program at a later date.
I don't think it'll be right away. I think it's going to be maybe later on this year, like towards the end of the year. And I don't know if they can integrate maybe both markets, the Japanese and the American, and have like a unified reward system, that'd be great. Or maybe if they offered up some discounted coupons towards the Pokemon Center, which has been really successful.
Yes.
Like every couple of weeks they have brand new items.
If anybody wants to buy me that Pikazard, I'm all for that.
But not the smiling one.
Not the smiling one. It's got to be the angry one. Come on, guys. Get with the program.
So there we go. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Mm-hmm. But until then, go to GameStop. If you want, most of them don't care if you get that little sleeve with the code on it, you could always ask them. But I mean, they're still good until, what is it, March, and you can use them until June. So might as well take advantage, make up an account, and see what you can get. Also, for that, if you put in for that Mewtwo DLC, you are still going to get that, even though the program is ending. You will get the Mewtwo for Super Smash Bros. On the DS and the Wii U.
Awesome.
We also have some Disney news that Kelli was pretty excited for, because this is actually, I don't know if it's your favorite Disney animated movie, because Winnie the Pooh is up there.
Winnie the Pooh is up there. I do like this. I have a pretty close top 5 for my favorite Disney animated. But this one is definitely up there. They have announced a live-action Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, it's been years since they've done that show. What was it, the 80s?
Beauty and the Beast was 92, I believe.
Okay, with Ron Perlman, right? I believe it's Ron Perlman was the Beast. And obviously we know him as Hellboy and Slade in the Teen Titans show. But Emma Watson has been cast as Belle in this live-action Beauty and the Beast. Your thoughts?
We'll see how it goes. I liked her in Perks of Being a Wallflower. Some criticism that I've heard is that she typically only does goofy roles, as opposed to more serious roles that Belle would be.
Yeah, I mean, in Perks, she was pretty serious. And even in the Harry Potter films, there's some really dark moments in that film series, and I feel like she can definitely pull that off. But as far as Belle, it's going to be very, very difficult. They're going to have to do a very different Belle for this to work. If they try to do the animated version, I don't think it's going to work.
Agreed. I think they'll make this movie much darker, because Beauty and the Beast is a very dark story to begin with. But I think she can pull it off. She's very excited. I saw her Twitter when she was allowed to announce it. And she goes, my 6-year-old self is all over the walls and the ceilings. This was my favorite movie growing up. You know, this is the role of a lifetime for her, because she's getting to play the character that she loved.
Hands down, your favorite and my favorite Disney princess is Belle. Yep. Absolutely.
And Prince, the Beast man, but not Prince Beast. Just Beast.
Not when he turns human.
Yes.
And he turns into, like, the real Beast. Like, that creepy-looking guy.
He turns around and we're all like, oh, just Beauty and the Beast right there.
Maybe it's just a shadowing. Oh, no, this is another scene, and he's still really creepy-looking.
Real ugly. When she walks into the West Wing for the first time and his picture's all torn up, that was a warning.
It was the house itself, also alive.
Yes.
Like, look at this.
This is what you're getting into. Run away.
But then they fall in love, and she can see the beauty within him. And even though the outside Prince thing was kind of messed up.
Real messed up. Afterwards, she's like, oh, maybe Gaston's not looking so bad.
So here's the downside to this live-action movie. It is being directed by Bill Condon, who did Chicago, Dreamgirls, and Twilight Breaking Dawn Parts 1 and 2.
Now, granted, we never saw either of those movies.
Of course not.
So we don't know. Maybe the direction was good.
I highly doubt that.
He didn't have great source material to go off of, okay? So
I wasn't big on Chicago. I didn't see Dreamgirls, and obviously I didn't see the Twilight films. So I'm definitely worried. Obviously worried. I think we were saying that Guillermo del Toro was going to direct it. He had written a screenplay.
Amazing. That would have been so good. Dougie Jones would have played the prince when he turned human. He would have looked a lot like the Pale Man from Pan's Labyrinth.
Still would have been a more handsome prince than the Disney animated one.
Aww. Poor Prince Beast.
But not poor Doug Jones.
Nope.
So that's what I have a downside. I'm not looking, I don't know, I don't have high hopes for it. But like you said, we'll see how it goes. And I'm really excited to see what Beast they'll use for it. And this seems to be a trend with Disney. This isn't the first live-action movie adaptation that they're doing.
Right, Cinderella's coming out next month, I believe. And they're pushing that hard. And so we see Beauty and the Beast. I'm sure we'll see more to come as well.
Staying on the movie news, big trailer in the comic book community. Fantastic Four trailer did drop.
Yep. You mean House of Cards 4.
Cards of 4?
Fantastic Cards.
Yes. Yeah, we did see Freddy from House of Cards. And
the rib guy.
Yes. And then, of course, the girl with the dragon tattoo, Zoe. She was in there as well. She actually plays Sue Storm in the film.
Probably still real whiny. Maybe gets hit by a train. I don't know.
We saw her on a computer. I'm like, okay, I guess that's Zoe. So, what'd you think? This was just a teaser, so we saw very little.
I would hold judgment until I see more.
Okay.
I think I saw the last Fantastic Four. I know I saw the one with the Silver Surfer.
Yes.
And I didn't know much about the characters. I was just kind of like, eh. You know, the cast is nobody that I know or have seen in anything, so I can't really make a judgment call. Like you said, it was a teaser, so I couldn't really see anything.
The one thing people are saying a lot, and it seems to be a universal thought, is that we didn't see them in action, really. We saw Johnny Storm, flame on for a little bit. We didn't really get a good look at the Thing. I don't know. I didn't feel like we needed all of that, but I did feel like the teaser should have gotten us excited. And for the most part, on my Twitter feed, everyone was pretty excited for it, and I was kind of surprised. As for me, it didn't really do anything.
I wasn't very excited.
Yeah.
If it played that Pinocchio song from the Avengers trailer, maybe. Because then I would have been real creeped out.
Did you like that? That they used that in the trailer?
It was
Did you like
creepy.
the Avengers trailer?
I don't know. I liked the song because I was real creeped out. And then I liked how it should have ended, how they made that trailer even better.
With Batman and Superman at the very end? Of course.
Of course.
So I'm glad people are excited for Fantastic Four. It means that they could still do something with this franchise. Obviously, Marvel wants it back. They hope that it doesn't do well. That's why they're ending the Fantastic Four comic. And now they're doing something similar with the X-Men, although that's going to be more difficult because the last X-Men movie, the last two, did very well in theaters.
Who owns the movie rights?
Fox.
So just have Disney buy them.
Well, they're expensive.
And?
Disney would rather choke them out slowly and have their films do shitty. Yeah. It'd be like Saving Private Ryan.
You see Mickey Mouse just, it's okay. It's horrible.
Just driving that knife in. So what do you guys think? Let us know on Twitter @ReasonsI'mBroke or on Facebook.com/TheReasonsI'mBroke.
So next up is still some movie/comic news, something I'm very excited for.
The other studio that also is kind of against Disney owns the rights to Spider-Man. They're next, yeah.
They're going to own them all soon.
Yeah, they will.
Let's be real. So, a month before its release of the first issue, Descender, written by Jeff Lemire and illustrated by Dustin Nguyen, has been optioned for a film by Sony.
That's insane.
Good job, Dusty Nguyen.
Obviously, they have the entire story, the script, going around to different studios. But number one doesn't release till March 4th, and it's already optioned for a movie. This does not mean that it's actually going to happen. Anything can happen. They can get canceled. They can, see that the market isn't ready for it and just postpone it. But at least they're saying we have the rights to make a movie out of this comic, and it's there. We're keeping our options open, and I'm sure they got a nice little boost in payment for just for this happening.
Oh yeah, they saw Dustin Nguyen's art. They're like, done. I'm giving all the credit to Dusty Nguyen.
Of course, they're being positive. Both of them are saying that it's going to be loyal to the original work. I think they have to say that.
Of course, of course.
I'm always curious, is it mainly Image that has control over what goes away and turns into a movie, or do they have the creators as a part of the contract, like, only if you guys are cool with this, will we make this into a movie?
I don't know. That'd be interesting to find out.
If you were an artist like Dustin Nguyen, would you be okay with, like, a studio selling off your story to become a film?
I would, because it would bring attention back to my original work.
That's true.
And so say somebody reads my original work, and yeah, it's not exactly like the movie, but they love my artwork. They're now going to find, or they love my writing style, they're going to go out and find other things that I've done, and I make more money.
Yeah, I feel like that's easier to do in the comic book community than it is to say if it was based on a novel or something, because it's a lot easier, or people are more compelled to actually seek out what the comic book was. And I see it all the time. People will come into the comic shop, they will have seen John Carter, believe it or not. As bad as that did in theaters, I distinctly remember many people asking for John Carter comic books.
That's
and I was
interesting.
like, holy shit, this movie did really badly, and you guys want to see the comics? But I guess they enjoyed the movie. I never saw it.
Well, the perception with comics, too, is that it's an easier and a more fun read than a novel. With a novel, you have to be invested, and they're usually 500 pages, and you're going to spend days, weeks, months reading these. A comic book you can knock out in 30 minutes.
Yeah, and even if it's a trade paperback, 45 minutes, maybe
Right.
an hour.
Exactly. It's a much smaller commitment.
I mean, I see number one immediately selling out. Something similar happened to Witches number one. I think the week of release, they said it was going to become a movie. And yeah, number one is going to fly, but I hope that those readers, I mean, obviously a lot of them are going to be speculators, just
Of
buying
course.
number one, thinking they're going to become millionaires. But I hope a lot of those readers actually do pick up number one and stick through the rest of the story, because Dustin Nguyen is an amazing artist. Jeff Lemire has done some good work in the past. He's a little bit more off and on with his work. But I think with Dustin Nguyen's artwork, they can really tell an awesome story. And we've talked about The Sender in the past and how excited we are.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as it was solicited, as soon as they talked about it at the Image Expo. And I think this is just good news for everyone involved, really.
Agreed.
So sticking with comic book news, IDW will be relaunching its Disney line of comics, starting with April's Uncle Scrooge.
Already sold. We love Uncle Scrooge.
Yes, we do.
Racist and old.
And very cheap. That's my favorite.
Yes, he's just a terrible person.
Just so incredibly cheap.
He really is. So the full lineup will be Uncle Scrooge, Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, and Walt Disney's Comics and Stories.
Something to take note, the Uncle Scrooge and the Mickey Mouse books will be reprintings of older stories, as well as the Walt Disney Comics and Stories. But I you know what, it's fine. Like, I'm obviously going to subscribe to most of these. Definitely Uncle Scrooge, because that's my favorite of this line. Donald Duck, it's kind of like it's like a softer Uncle Scrooge. It's a little bit sillier.
He's still very angry, though.
He is, but then when you read Uncle Scrooge, you're like, holy shit, Donald Duck is that's nothing compared to Uncle Scrooge. That guy gets pissed off. And Mickey Mouse, I'll give the first couple of issues a shot.
Uncle Scrooge gets pissed off to the fact, like, where he just wipes out entire nationalities. Just destroys them.
Without spending a penny somehow.
Yes.
Yes, he does.
Very excited for these. I think this will pull in older readers, too, because they're going to remember that from their childhood and be like, oh, I can pick this up again.
And a lot of times, too, is they'll give it a brand new cover. Beautiful artwork. I already saw the one from the previous catalog this week, actually. And they'll clean up the original pages, too, which is always nice. They'll recolor them. But if you don't want that brand new digital version, they'll actually offer a collection of the older stuff, usually in a nice hardcover. The Don Rosa collection was recently released with the Uncle Scrooge books, and it's gorgeous. I didn't end up getting it because the hardcovers, I don't know, they're harder to store, like in a shelf, especially that one. And they are obviously way more expensive than the soft covers. But these comics, single issues, yeah, count me in. We're definitely going to read them. At least I am. And here's a trend that we've been seeing, and one studio is going out there and just saying, this is exactly what we're going to do.
I agree. This is amazing. So Ross Ritchie, founder and CEO of Boom Studios, who publishes titles like Adventure Time, Lumberjanes, and Hexed, has announced a movement for his company titled Push Comics Forward.
Yes, Push Comics Forward. They didn't know who was behind it for a little bit, and then obviously just within a couple of days, someone followed the trail of who bought the domain, and they're like, oh, it's Boom right here. But they did come out and say, he actually said that he wants to shape what comics should look like 10 years from now by creating a new golden age of comics through diversity and brand new talent.
Absolutely. He closed by saying, if you believe comics are great just the way they are, this isn't for you. If you think superheroes are the only kinds of stories worth telling in comics, this isn't for you. But if you want to see everyone reading comics, your aunt, your coworkers, your niece, your boyfriend, that kid down the street, let's push #comics forward in 2015.
And he further went on Twitter and said, why don't you guys help us? Let us know what you think comics will look like 10 years from now. By that, he's referring to, he pointed to Lumberjanes, and he said that when he talked about a comic of an all-female cast, that people told him that's not going to sell very well, and it took off. Like, it turned from a little mini-series into a full ongoing comic. And he says this is actually what people want, and it's when you present something like that and you do it in a like it's written well and it's drawn well and you have it there for them, people will support that. It's not always the case. It's much harder in the superhero community because people are more used to their characters and the world that they have built. But for something like Boom Studios, which they have this tremendous amount of talent over there, we talk about how some of their comics, like Adventure Time, they're better than the actual show sometimes. And that's amazing. That's very hard to do. So I think this is a great movement. I feel like they are actually capitalizing on the fact that we do have brand new readers now, more female readers, which is 50% of the market, and a diverse cast as well. They have more minority characters in comics, and they want to be right there when all of this boom happens. Pun intended, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I think this movement is definitely what is going to become comics within the next 10 years, because they're seeing that there is a different market that they can make these comics for. And we've seen some great stuff from them, and I think it's just going to continue to get better.
So what do you think comics will look like in 10 years? Do you think independent comics are going to be much bigger than they are now? Will studios like Boom have a bigger piece of the market share once, if this all continues the way it's going?
Hopefully. I say hopefully because we do see a lot of superhero movies coming out within the next 10 years.
That's true.
And I think that is going to push Marvel and DC, to sell more comics.
Right.
But I do believe that we will see more variety come out of independent comic companies.
And I think it's all still good for everyone, though. Like you said, there's going to be more readers picking up the Marvel and DC books because they just saw, Jason Momoa and Aquaman, and they now want to read Aquaman, or whatever the case may be. But a lot of times they won't just leave with that book. That might be their starting point, but then they go through the shelves. They're like, oh, this looks interesting, and they'll give that a shot. And maybe one of those books ends up being an independent book. And so everyone kind of wins. When there's more people in the comic book shop, that's more exposure to their book, and I think that's good. And I feel that with what Boom Studios is doing, they're not the only ones trying to capitalize on the movement. You see people like Marvel doing the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, Spider-Gwen, so they have more of a main character who is a female, and they give them their own title. And DC's doing some stuff with the independent market, trying to catch that feel of it, or the way it works, or what is appealing to people by doing Arkham Manor and the new take on Batgirl. So I don't think they're going to be alone. Boom Studios is going to be alone in this movement. Everyone wants a piece of that market share, and I think they're going to gain a lot of money from that. And then the readers are going to get a diverse range of stories that they can pick from. Ideally, that's what we're going to see in 10 years, and I think it's definitely something great that everyone should get behind, because ultimately that's just good for everyone.
Absolutely. So DC did release their April solicitations, and we're going to touch up on just a few things that we will probably be picking up.
Yeah, it will actually be one of the months in which we save the most money.
That's good.
Because I was going through the previews catalog, and since there won't be a regular Batman title, or Detective, or Sinestro actually, or Deathstroke, any of those, but there will be these Convergence stories, which is DC revisiting the pre-Flashpoint universe and mixing it up with Flashpoint, with New 52 in these next 2 months that Convergence occurs. And I don't know, a lot of that on there just really didn't catch my eye. But there's a couple, and we're going to talk about it. First one starting with Convergence, Harley Quinn #1, written by Steve Pugh, art by Phil Winslade and John Dell.
The summary is that life for Harley Quinn has become downright normal over the last year. Will she be ready to go nuts when Catwoman and Poison Ivy draft her to fight Captain Carrot?
It's the Gotham City Sirens.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yep.
And they couldn't call it Gotham City Sirens #1 because Harley Quinn #1, way more marketable. People will pick it up for that.
Course.
Put her front and center. She's obviously the more popular character right now between Catwoman and Poison Ivy. But I think that this is awesome because it's their original costumes. It's the Sirens as we love them. Different writers, but, they're fighting Captain Carrot, who you don't care for.
I don't really care, but I do love the Sirens. I will read anything with the Sirens in it. So, obviously, picking it up.
And obviously this next one for the love story and the strong female characters, one of which being Nightwing.
This is Convergence, Nightwing Oracle #1. It's written by Gail Simone with art by Jan Duursema and Dan Parsons.
The summary for this one is, just as they've finally been reunited, the romance between Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon is sentenced to execution by Flashpoint Hawkman and Hawkwoman. Everyone attacks them. The Flashpoint characters.
No, you can't be in love.
Why not? Because let's fight. Oh shit. Okay.
Oh, okay. Nightwing's probably gonna whine like, but why can't I just find love?
It's a love story, right? Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon.
So excited.
It's your ideal couple, or
I like them together. I mean,
I thought you liked Robin and Starfire together.
well, I like them together too.
You just like everyone together.
I just like everyone together. Yes.
Any love story.
Yes.
There's a trade paperback we're going to be getting from this April solicitation. That is Batman Adventures Volume 2.
This volume includes the story Batgirl Day 1, featuring the very first comics appearance of Harley Quinn.
Yep, that's a very hard issue to find now, especially with the Suicide Squad movie being announced. That Batman Adventures number 12 got really hot. People ask for it every now and again at the shop, and I can immediately tell them, like, no, we don't have it. No. This trade paperback will be $19.99, so you can see the original story, the first appearance of Harley, when what are they called, like the little jingles?
The little pom-poms?
Yeah, those were colored in red.
Red, yeah. Yeah, her teeth were yellow then, weren't they?
Yeah.
She had yellow teeth. That was a good issue.
Even in the series, in the animated show, her eyes were colored in yellow, too. Gave her a lot of personality, made her look a little bit more like the Joker, but then as the character evolved and became very popular, they kind of prettied her up a little bit, like gave her white teeth and white eyeballs.
Made her a little nicer to look at.
Yep, not the only animated series bit of merchandise, though.
Correct. We will be seeing an animated series Roxy Rocket Deluxe action figure.
The fan favorite line of 6-inch action figures from the Emmy Award-winning animated series continues with Roxy Rocket. For the first time ever, you can own Roxy and her famed Rocket in this deluxe figure pack.
The figure comes with show-specific accessories, display base, and Rocket with working lights.
They went all out with this figurine. I guess they're like, if we're going to have Roxy, I mean, what is Roxy without her rocket? It's a part of her fucking name. And this is another character that was created by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm. So do you remember that episode from season 4?
Very vaguely. Roxy is not a character that I was drawn to, so...
She has this... Okay, so the character, from what I remember, she had this... All of them have mental illnesses of some sorts, and they're all a reflection of Batman. And... hers was she really had no value to her own life. So there was a little bit there, some suicidal tendencies, but at the same time, this need for a thrill. So she would put her entire life in danger because she was a stunt woman, if I remember correctly, her origin. And to the point where she was putting other people in danger, herself in danger. And that's when Batman had to step in and be like, that's enough. When he did put an end to her, they made it very sexual. Like when she's about to crash into the cliff, and she's just screaming like "yes, yes" and grabbing Batman. I was like, holy shit!
As a child, you're like, I don't feel comfortable.
Should I be watching this? Even Bruce Timm, and years later, he's like, I can't believe we got away with that episode.
There's a lot they got away with in that show.
Oh yeah. But he said hands down that was the worst thing they had done. And that's ironic because in season 4, that's when they were really keeping their eye on the team, like make it for kids and put Robin in every episode and all of that. So I don't know. I liked Roxy. She just never really took off. She made her comics debut in Detective Comics a couple of years ago. I forgot the issue. I think it's like 866 or something. And it's like for one page, like it's just Batman, stopping her. And she was in the Batman Adventures Annual #1 as well. There was a story there with her, which I believe is the second appearance of Harley Quinn also. So it's a really good book to have if you do have it. It's there's some good stories in there. But I don't know. I do like Roxy, and I kind of hope that they reuse her in the main DC continuity. I feel like if they can hire Paul Dini for another story and have him write up a Roxy story, a new origin, a new 52 Roxy, as long as it's with Dini, right. I think it could work. But, at least we're getting an action figure. The action figure will be $39.95. It's pretty pricey, but you are getting that base, you are getting that rocket that has the lights, and it is set to release in August of 2015.
The next thing that we just couldn't turn down, unfortunately, reasons
we're
that we're broke. Batman Black and White Batgirl Babs Tarr statue. So this is from the new revamp of Batgirl. Her wonderful costume with the jacket and it's fabulous.
It looks amazing, and this is based on the design that Cameron Stewart and Babs Tarr put together. And basically, the summary on this, it says, Barbara Gordon gets the black and white treatment based on her fresh new look from the hit comic book Batgirl. Limited edition of 5200, just like the other ones. Mm-hmm. We love the costume. Cosplayers everywhere love the costume. And I think readers of the comic are still like, this is amazing. Like, it's one of the best redesigns in the last, 10, 15 years.
Absolutely. The statue will be $79.95 and also comes out in August. August is going to be a very expensive month for us.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But that'll be right at the beginning of the holiday season, so maybe I'll get some extra hours. And now we can move on to the Marvel news. This is, we mainly read DC Comics. Every now and again we do pick up a Marvel comic and a bunch of indie books. But this is news that is going to affect even us because we are picking up Thor, Silver Surfer, She-Hulk, even though that's ending. But this one, it is all about the current Marvel Universe and how it is coming to an end.
Yes, so during a press event at New York City, Marvel's editor-in-chief, Axel Alonso, confirmed that the 8-issue main event, Secret Wars, will be the end of the main Marvel Universe as well as the Ultimate Universe.
The end of the Ultimate Universe is what they should have done with Cataclysm, but they didn't. Mm-hmm. And now they are definitely ending it.
They're like, oh, shit, should have done it then. Here we go.
And they're kind of putting everything together. By the time Secret Wars #1 hits the stands in May, every world in Marvel's universe will be destroyed, with pieces of each forming Battle World underneath the dome, run by Brainiac, as he gets pieces of every Marvel universe and Ultimate Universe and pre-Flashpoint universe. And then Hawkman can attack all of them.
So they're copying DC.
Or DC's copying Marvel. I don't know.
They're both copying each other.
It's the exact same event.
Yes. They both brought peanut butter sandwiches, and one has grape jelly and one has strawberry jelly, so they're saying they're different, but they're not. They did clear up some questions about the creators by saying that most of them will remain with the same characters they were working on, but not necessarily under the same book.
I read that as, like, not under the same title. Like, it could be, it probably won't be Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man. They might just call it Ultimate Spider-Man, but have it be set in the main Marvel Universe.
Miles Morales Black Spider-Man.
Let's face it, that's what you guys call him. No, we don't, I swear.
Hola, Michael Morales.
Miles Morales.
Miles Morales is Miguel. They're going to change his name to Miguel.
This year's free comic book day issue of Secret Wars #0 will catch everyone up on the events thus far before May's Secret Wars #1 and 2. So this is the way that Marvel, Disney, whatever you want to call them, the way that they're going to try to hook readers that haven't been reading anything beforehand and being like, look, here's this one issue, here's everything that's happened so far, here's how this is going to kick off. You can read #1 coming out, later on this month, #1 and 2. Is that smart?
Yes, it's very smart because somebody's going to get hooked on it and be like, oh, well, this sounds kind of interesting. Let me pick up the next two. Let me invest $6 to see if this is something that I want.
This is something that DC did last year and Marvel's done this too, but we got hooked on Future's End with that amazing #0 issue with Batman Beyond. And then
it wasn't very good. But they got us in for a few issues.
They did. So we might pick up Secret Wars #0. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to pick up many of these issues. I'm not as invested. We're not in Avengers or any of those other characters, the X-Men, even Spider-Man. We're just reading the Spider-Verse arc right now. But I am interested to see what happened to Miles and if any of those other Ultimate characters are going to make it past Secret Wars. I think Miles is way too popular to let go. I think they've done too many good things with the character. Mm-hmm. So hopefully this means that he will finally become a part of the main Marvel Universe.
Bye, Peter Parker.
No, they'll still be Peter Parker.
Bye, Peter Parker. Adios, Peter Parker.
We did have a question of the week from Broquette John from Facebook.
This is a great question of the week.
You like this one?
I really liked this one.
Would you name your kids after comic book characters?
So this is something, thank you for the question, by the way, something that we have discussed for several years.
Mm-hmm.
Several years.
Yep.
And we are both in agreement our children will hate us.
Most likely.
But the answer is yes. We've already picked out the names.
We did. If it's a boy, Mixel Spitlick.
No, we're not naming him Mixel Spitlick.
I'm sorry, Dupe.
Dupe. No, Captain Carrot.
Bucky O'Hare.
Be for reals.
Bruce, obviously.
Bruce Wayne.
Bruce, yes. And then middle name would be Wayne. Yep.
He would hate us.
Absolutely. Now, knowing us, he'd grow up liking Superman or Marvel characters. Marvel,
yeah. Like Iron Man or something.
Honestly, he probably won't like Batman because his name would be Bruce Wayne and everyone would call him, Batman.
Yeah. Well, he wouldn't tell anybody his middle name. He would just go by Bruce.
If we did have a kid, though, I would, just like I grew up watching Batman the Animated Series, I would absolutely show him or her Batman the Animated Series. Like, it's a great show. It's fucking dark sometimes, and it's not really for kids.
This is the real world, Bruce.
Scared me as a child, and I think my kids should be scared too.
That's horrible. And then if it happened to be a girl, we decided on Selena Harleen.
Yep, Selena Harleen. I wanted Talia, but obviously that didn't happen.
But Selena's a good name.
It's a good name.
We call her Lena for short.
And Harleen, obvious.
Obvious. That one may still be up for discussion.
Yeah, we'll see. But for sure, Selena is the settled name.
Yep.
So thanks again, John, from Facebook. And
now everyone thinks we're horrible parents.
Oh, yeah. They think we're fucking weirdos.
You guys like Batman too much.
It should have been Mr. Spicklick.
We could name him Victor Freeze.
We could.
Victor's a good name.
That is a really good name. But we are sticking with Bruce and Selena. So before we move on to reviews, we do have a couple of little announcements. On the expo, just a reminder, we will have a panel there, all of us at nerdupmedia.com. It will be called Podcasting 101.
Join the Nerd Up Media crew as we go through how you can get started on a podcast or a Let's Play channel. We'll share what has worked for us, our experiences, and how social media can help you grow your fan base. We will also have a Q&A to discuss general comic book and video game news.
This will take place May 22nd through the 24th at the Rosen Center Hotel in Orlando, Florida. This will be after MegaCon. We will try to record it. I don't know how the setup's going to be with the room, but I don't know. It'll be fun. All of us at Nerd Media are pretty excited. Omni Expo they do it every year. It's definitely bigger than MetroCon, and we do have a room all set up. We are on the website. And yeah, let's go and do it. Our very first panel.
Very excited. We'll be like, hello, welcome to our panel.
Is this on?
Hello. It's gonna make that screeching noise, and we're all gonna back up like, whoa.
Someone's like, you guys aren't this bad. Stop it. Also, we have our free Audible audiobook download and recommendation of the week, which is actually Unbroken.
The summary is the telling of an unforgettable story of a man's journey into extremity. Unbroken is a testament to the resilience of the human mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, I believe this is actually a movie that's out in theaters now, so that's why I ended up picking it. Love movies, haven't caught up on my Oscar stuff yet, still have to see Birdman. But you can actually check out the audiobook before or after you've seen the movie, or even without any of those, because it is absolutely free when you head on over to audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia.
All of our brokettes get a free Audible book download of your choice, along with a free 30-day trial. Again, it's audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia.
You can also find the link at nerdupmedia.com. Just go under partners, click on Audible. It'll take you straight to the site. It is a way that you can help us out aside from the shirts. If you just want a free audiobook for you or a friend or whatever, just sign up through our link.
50 Shades of Grey is on there, ladies.
That was on the last podcast.
And gentlemen. Valentine's Day is coming up.
It is. Just give them a little USB disc, and it just right there, it just says love on it. Just label it with love and give it to them.
There's a lot of people really mad about that book, though, by the way.
Well, controversial love. Okay. We just add that on there.
Just write sexy love. It's fine.
Why are people mad now? Like, this isn't this an old thing?
I don't know, because it's getting bigger, so...
Just because it's getting a movie.
Yeah. So people are like, that's not how those kind of relationships really are. What she did was rape.
There are worse movies, sir. So now we can jump into our comics for the week. We aren't going to review last week's. We did finish them and all that. If you really want to know what our piss of the week.
Which comic did we piss on?
The one we hated. It actually wasn't that big a pile, so we're not missing much. But we do have a decent range of comics here. We do have a Marvel book, a couple of indies, and a bunch of DC. All of you saw the picture on Twitter and Facebook. First one being...
Now, that was assuming. You assumed they all saw the picture.
They all saw it. If not, they should see it now. Just stop the podcast, pull it up. It's on Twitter. It's everywhere. Everywhere.
On billboards, like, why are you pulling it up? Just look out your car window right now. There it is.
First book is Adventure Time number 36, written by Christopher Hastings and Michelle Nunnally, art by Zachary Sterling and Michelle Nunnally, with colors by Marta Laiho. This is with the new creative team.
Yep, new creative team, new arc. They go to space.
Finn and Jake in space. What do you think? I feel like the transition between the different teams was very smooth.
I agree. It's still really funny. Kept me very entertained. I feel like this was a one-shot. Like, they aren't getting too invested in a story yet, which was good. We needed a break after the last few arcs.
Yeah, it was also a little bit less wordy, which I feel like that made it a little bit more streamlined. We loved the comic before then too, but it's kind of sort of doing its own thing while building their own version of Adventure Time. It doesn't feel different at all. Like, the jokes are very similar to what they had before, and I still laugh. Like, even in the background, there's more jokes in the background than there was before. I thought that was awesome.
Right.
And I'm kind of excited to see what kind of arc this new team will build, because before, when we had like that Ice King story, which was amazing, I want to see if they can do something of that caliber in the new Adventure Time comic. So far, so good. I think they're off to a great start.
The backup story was really funny too. With Jake has to go on a mission to help Finn get better, and he gets sidetracked along the way, and it was very, very cute. I appreciated the art in that as well. It was a whole lot of fun.
Yep, love the book, love the comic as always. Adventure Time continues its streak, even with Boom's awesome creators.
And speaking of streaks...
Yeah.
Our next book is Sex Criminals, number 10. This is written by Matt Fraction, with art by Chip Zdarsky.
As far as the plot goes, it really didn't move forward that much, but it was all about the jokes and all of the little things. It was very light compared to the other issues.
There were a lot of penises in this book.
Yeah, there were.
They were all over the place.
Yeah, it's just them sort of getting to, what do they call it, the quiet together, trying to synchronize it with someone else who's in another room, so they can further investigate this sex police that they've come across, because now they're finding more and more people that can actually go into the quiet through climax. And to me, like, the story was awesome. It was really funny, but I couldn't wait to get to the letters. I say it every time, especially this time. Like, it just seems like they're adding more and more pages of letters, and now there's, like, pictures in there sometimes.
I'm going to have to start reading these. If I had more time in my week, but, work and wifely grocery shopping and laundry and shit.
Yeah. Let me give you an example. They also put, like, little sex tips at the very top. Here's one just to show you guys. Are you into golden showers? Traveling on a Delta flight to Atlanta on 30th of December? You reading this over my shoulder? Well? And there's always something. And that, again, it's $3.50. You're going to get your money's worth just in laughs from the letters alone. And then you have this other funny story before that. Our Marvel book for this week is Thor number 4, written by Jason Aaron, art by Russell Dauterman, and colors by Matthew Wilson. It's Thor versus the son of Odin. They're going to find out who is... It's that point of the story where the old character has to sort of feel like, okay, this is a proper character to take on my name. And this is also the comic in which they're like, look, readers, we are going to call her Thor now, and this is why. And she even has the son of Odin's blessing at this point. Like, this is what it's going to be for a little while. Accept it or don't, and don't read the comic. But that's essentially exactly what this is. They also eliminate one character from who you think this Thor might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed as well. I'm not going to reveal who that was, but if you heard...
They all know now.
Yeah, I mean,
please.
if they heard the episode with Thor #1, we were pretty excited if it was this specific character. But apparently we've seen her before. She's been in the Thor comics in the past. We didn't start reading Thor until this one, not counting Frog Thor. So, I don't know. I thought it was really good. I felt like this was the end of this little arc that we got. And it does show that she is actually more worthy of the hammer than the Son of Odin is.
I'm really excited to see how far they can take this. Because obviously they're going to hit a point where it's okay, Son of Odin is Thor again. But I'm really enjoying this. I think it's great that they're adding more strong female characters.
Yeah, it's exactly what we were talking about before. The book sells really well. Rick, from a fellow Notre Media podcaster from The Read Pile and Those Two Jerks, he was saying that at the comic book shop someone was going off about this comic and how there couldn't be a female Thor, and he's like, yeah, it's one of the hottest books right now. And he's like, oh, really? Well, let me get one. It just goes to show that give it a shot, Don't just go by, it's a brand new character, I don't know, that's not my Thor. Like, why don't you read it? Read the first couple of issues and see if you actually like the story, because guess what? It might be good.
Next, we're going to move into our DC books. First up, we have Arkham Manor #4. This is written by Jerry Dugan with art by Sean Crystal, and the colorist is Dave McCaig. McCaig! I did that last time, too. McCaig, change your last name.
Just so Kelli, if he did, you start saying it McCaig.
Oh, I would, wouldn't I?
You would.
McCaig.
There you go. So this is Clayface, Jokerized, running around Arkham, and...
Joker face.
Yes. And Batman as Matches Malone.
Yes.
Running around trying to stop Clayface without revealing that he's actually Batman. He does this all the time when he goes undercover. Just does his Batman thing anyway, and they all don't suspect. They're just like, oh, that guy's really cool and awesome. No one connects the dots. But I did like the interaction they had with Mr. Freeze here. Because since the New 52 Freeze got introduced, we haven't been liking him really. They haven't really utilized them well. Even that one shot Mr. Freeze story was okay, but that annual one was not good. And we like Snyder and we love Mr. Freeze, but I enjoyed this one more. I felt like they touched back on his Batman the Animated Series redesign and origin story that they established there by him being like, you know what, I'm not just gonna go out and murder people. This is actually like, I'm going to help you, and then that's it. I don't have anywhere else to go. And that is Mr. Freeze. Like, the cold, like, sort of almost sweet, warm character, oddly enough.
Well, like you were saying, if you guys remember the animated series, like, he was never murdering people just to murder them. It was all for Nora. It was all to get back, because of the injustice that had been done to her. And then once that was done, he was fine. He didn't need to kill anybody else. So, yes, very reminiscent of that. I really enjoyed the Mr. Freeze interactions more than any other part of this book. And
there's even a connection to a character in Gotham Academy in this Arkham Manor book. So if you're reading Gotham Academy, I feel like you should also get Arkham Manor. They don't happen exactly at the same time, but there are some connections between the two books. And with Arkham Manor ending, I believe, in March, it's not a big investment, so... If anything, wait for the trade. We're enjoying the Arkham Manor book, and I can't wait to see him take down the Spider or whatever his name is. Next is Batman #38, written by Scott Snyder and James Tynion IV, art by Greg Capullo and Sam Keith, colors by FCO Placencia and Rhonda Pattison.
This one was spooky, man.
Every single one. This Endgame story. This is
spooky.
Endgame Part 4.
So we get, like, super more of a mystery in this one. I don't know that I believe it.
Yeah, we're still confused as to how the Joker can exist in this story. Is he actually immortal? Have we actually seen him in the past of Gotham's history? I don't know. Like, that's the confusing part about it, and that's what Scott Snyder wants to do. He wants the reader to be as confused as Batman is. He wants the reader to say, no, it's just a man. It's just a Joker. You can put an end to him. Like, he has these almost powers at this point with Endgame that he's done through science and through manipulating other people, which is what the Joker does. But you still want to think like, okay, well, you can still stop him. Come on, Batman. It's what Batman does.
Even though Robin gets whiny in this, and he's like, you can't do it.
Yeah, I hated that. Like,
Oh.
at one point, yeah, Robin, it's a minor spoiler. He's like, well, this is all over. We can't do anything. Gotham is done. It's like,
Just come live with me.
Robin, how many fucking times have you been in this situation with Batman, even as Robin, where, like, everything looked helpless and then Batman found the way out? And he says it in the book. He says there's always a way. Mm-hmm. And that's Batman. He always finds a way, no matter what it is. It's almost like Bond when he's tied up and he somehow escapes, like, but it's on a bigger scale because it's fucking Batman. And that's the one thing where I was like, come on. Like, if I was writing this, I wouldn't make... Like, yeah, he's whiny, but he knows better. Dick Grayson knows better.
Overall, I did enjoy the book. Very spooky. Not my pick of the week, though.
It was actually my pick of the week, and something else I did want to point out, the book is still $3.99. So I remember a couple of months ago when they were adding the pages in that book, they were talking about bringing it up to, what was it, $5?
Oh, something ridiculous.
And then they said, no, we're going to keep it at $3.99 and keep the same pages, and we weren't sure if it was going to be just for that issue, and then they were going to push it up later on, but it turns out that, guess what, they kept the backup story, they kept the extra pages in the main story, and they kept the price at $3.99.
Awesome.
I feel like not enough people have actually acknowledged that, because, I don't know, maybe it's like, okay, well, this is how it should be. It's like, yeah, but they reversed their decision, and that's great, and on top of that, we're getting a good story, a good comic.
Yeah. Our next comic is Catwoman number 38. This is written by Genevieve Valentine, with art by Gary Brown, and the colorist is Lee Luffridge.
This is actually going to be my pass of the week.
Mine as well.
We've kind of, I don't know, I feel like the story is stalling at this point, where we reached a really good point in which we saw that she did actually have to make a sacrifice for the good of her family and for the good of the rest of the gangs and families and all of that. And we're seeing some of the consequences and how she feels and how she's dealing with it. But it's almost not worth it because we're not getting enough of development.
And Catwoman in love.
Well, we saw that, but not enough development on Catwoman's side, I felt like.
Right. She's kind of hit a plateau, and maybe she'll do something great soon and get to her ultimate goal of tearing down all the crime families. But, I mean, like you said, I feel like the last few issues have just kind of,
And on top of that, she's also being whiny towards Batman.
You know what? Let her do what she wants with Batman.
No, because if Talia were doing this, you'd be against that. But because it's Catwoman, you think it's okay.
Everything Talia, I am against.
Well, I know this, and you're not being equal with how you treat...
I never said I am a woman. When are we ever equal with anything? Never.
So we will be actually dropping Catwoman from our subscription. We gave it a shot. It wasn't as bad as the Ann Nocenti stuff.
Oh, no.
But
nothing's as bad as the Ann Nocenti stuff. I don't even think the movie The Room is as bad as Ann Nocenti stuff.
But I think whatever happens out of Convergence, if she goes back to being the regular Catwoman after Eternal ends, maybe we'll come back to the book. But for now, it's something that we just don't need to pick up every month. Next DC book is Gotham Academy number 4. It's written by Becky Cloonan and Brendan Fletcher, with art by Carl Kerschel, and colors by Masasic and Serge Lapointe.
I'm glad you had that name, because I would have just butchered it.
I probably did too. Masasic is probably how you pronounce it.
I would have been like, Masakai. I don't know. So this one is actually my pick of the week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I did really enjoy this book. I did not particularly like last month's, but I feel like we're back on track of where they're trying to go. We're back to a mystery. We get some cray-cray stuff at the end, which I think will lend itself to her, minor spoiler, but in the walls of the academy and trying to figure out its dark secrets. And now she kind of has someone to help her with that. Someone very unexpected.
Yeah, definitely a companion. This doesn't ruin who it is, but they actually used this character's design from Batman the Animated Series, season 1 through 3. So they're fans of that cartoon. They grew up right around that same time, so it's just nice to see that throwback. And then when you see that on the page and you connect it with the episodes from the series, you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely a character that is probably soft enough to help out, Silverlock in whatever she's doing, as long as, there's a mutual agreement between the two. So I bought it. I thought it was awesome. I definitely bought into the idea of this character in this academy.
Exactly.
And that got me really excited for number 5 when that comes out next month.
We do also see another love interest, so now she's got 2 boys.
Out of nowhere, like, she just gets caught and they're like, oh, well, this is just the guy she likes now.
No, he likes her, but she doesn't know yet. She's still confused because she's still trying to figure out what happened last summer, but she still likes Kyle too. But now she's got this new man, like Spencer or something is his name, and I think they're going to fight over her at some point, and she's going to have to choose which one she likes more. Oh, it's going to be amazing.
We know who this book is clearly for. For the Kellys out there.
Yes, and I'm eating it up. It's fabulous.
So your pick of the week, Gotham Academy number 4. Next we have Harley Quinn number 14.
This one is written by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, with art by Chad Hardin, and the colorist is Alex Sinclair.
This was my runner-up for pick of the week.
Mine also.
I absolutely adored this comic. It's more of Harley Quinn and just her shitty luck in trying to find a man and which happens to be the thing that happens this month. It's always something, but this month it's trying to find a date and actually keeping it.
Yes. Things get in the way and misunderstandings happen, but this book was still so much fun, and you ride the ups and downs with Harley. It's fabulous.
And you see her as a psychologist for a good portion of this.
A good portion of it, and there's actually a mystery entwined with that, which I think will bleed over into the next few issues.
Loving the comic. They're doing an awesome job, Jimmy and Amanda. Always good things to say about Harley, but yeah, almost my pick of the week. Next, and the last book actually is Sinestro number 9, written by Cullen Bunn, art by Brad Walker, and colors by Jason Wright.
Sinestro is back to being his old Sinestro-y self.
Yeah, no more of, what was that big arc for the Green Lantern series?
Like Gods or something.
Godhead. It was Godhead, yeah. What was it, 2 or 3 issues? 3 issues of Sinestro. So for the last 3 months...
Too many.
For the last 3 months, like the first 2, we were like, okay, these are pretty good. And then the third one, we're like, okay, we're done with Godhead. Let's move on. And now we have moved on. And I feel like that hurt the book. Like, I had a lot of subscribers drop out of this comic because of Godhead.
Agreed.
So I dislike Godhead even more now. I stuck through it because I love the character. I like Sinestro, and I know that they were going to go back to the main thing of just him helping out his people and trying to build a relationship with his daughter, or maybe she's trying to build a relationship with him.
Right.
And that's what I wanted out of this comic, and that's what we were missing while Godhead was going on.
Agreed. We are starting to get that back. I still think it's going to be another issue or 2 before I'm fully committed into it again, because we did have such a long break from it. But still, Sinestro being his old Sinestro-y self, shit's about to go down in the next one.
Yes, we have pretty big villain comes up in this issue. And not one that I've actually seen Sinestro confront during Jeff Johns' run from Green Lantern. Maybe it occurred in one of the offshoot comics, I'm not sure. But as far as Green Lantern went, we only read the Jeff Johns stuff, which was amazing. It's a lot of readers will say that's the best Green Lantern right there, is
it was
his
great.
run.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, it's heading in the right direction for Sinestro number 9, and I really like the book, and I'm really glad it's not being canceled like the other Green Lantern books supposedly are.
Right.
So Sinestro and Green Lantern are still going, and hopefully we see them on the other end of Convergence.
So that will actually do it for our podcast this week. Just to reiterate, my pick of the week was Gotham Academy number 4.
And my pick of the week was Batman number 38.
Spooky, spooky. And both of our passes of the week were Catwoman number 38.
We want to once again thank all the Brokettes out there for leaving us reviews on iTunes and on Stitcher, and for buying a shirt on nerdupmedia.com/shop. We really appreciate it. It really helps us out in continuing going with our server costs and with the production of our videos and podcasts.
For a link of everywhere you can listen to our podcast, you can head over to nerdupmedia.com and just click on the Reasons I'm Broke, and you have everything from iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, all right there.
Yeah, that includes the Twitter page where you can follow us, and the Facebook. Don't forget to like us on there. Tell a friend. If you know anyone that is reading comics or does like some of the stuff that we talk about, suggest a show to them. They might find something on the podcast that they might enjoy. And for the Florida area Brokettes, we hope to see you at Omni Expo. While you're at nerdupmedia.com, check out one of our other great shows on the Nerd Up Media Network, like The Read Pile, Those Two Jerks, or Let's Plays like the Lazy Gaming Guys.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Once again, I'm Kelli.
And I'm Daniel.
We'll see you next week.